energy policy in planning, operations, management, and regulation through various offices he has held in Pakistan. And briefly, they were the Secretary of Pakistan Ministry of Petroleum and National Resources, Chairman and CEO of National Petroleum Company, Chairman of National Electrical Power Regulatory Authority, NEPRA. Everybody in Pakistan knows about it and has all kinds of things to say about it. Member of Nuclear Regulatory Board, member of National Finance Commission, and consultant to various national and international bodies. He's currently in private sector, and he's also involved in a number of businesses related to petroleum exploration and energy management and operations, both in Pakistan and in the Gulf, UAE. He's also an honorary professor at the Pakistan's National University of Science and Technology. Before I pass on to our distinguished speaker the opportunity to tell us about talk to us, I just wanted to share with you, I just returned from Lahore after about 10 days. And the energy shortage is a way of life in Pakistan. It is affecting the daily lives of Pakistanis in very many significant ways. It is having a devastating effect on the industry, and as a result, I understand many industries are moving out of the country. And somebody told me to Bangladesh, which I didn't realize was also, which I thought was also an energy deficit country. But just to give you my impression, I've been going back and forth to Lahore for many years, and there used to be a lot of beggars in the 50s and 60s. Then they went down quite dramatically. And when I was here last week, I noticed quite a number of beggars when you stop at the traffic lights. And I asked my colleagues, friends, why? And they said, because many factories have closed down, and they work only 2 out of 5 days or 6 days. So it is having a very major effect. I don't know whether that's true or not. I presume it is part of life, and it's partially true. But just to give you an idea how important the energy crisis is in Pakistan, how it's impacting daily life. But on a very positive side, when I was visiting my family members, the electricity will go off and children will say, oh, electricity gone off. So everybody's face will fall. And then after a few hours, we'll come back, they will all come jumping back in, oh, bijli aa gayi, electricity is coming. And I asked people, I said, what is the effect of it? And they said, there's a built-in happiness cycle in Pakistani life now. When electricity comes back, everybody seems happy. So at least there's a certain amount of energy shortage is creating a weird way of making people a little bit cheerful when it comes back. Anyway, today's topic is not about energy shortage in Pakistan, but Pakistan's role in energy security, global energy security. But I hope our distinguished speaker will also touch upon what's going to happen to future energy needs of Pakistan.
Thank you. I think I'll probably manage the slides better from here. Professor Riaz, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my pleasure to be a first time in this university and get an opportunity to share some thoughts on a subject which is a common bridge in the world now, energy. In fact, for no, I'll be able to change it. Okay. Just- Yeah, we'll go back. Okay. Um, Before I touch upon the subject, I like to share a sentiment now that I'm here in an academic environment. There is no doubt that knowledge today is becoming a paramount source of power. And the institutions like yours are now at the focus of harnessing that power. And it's said that nothing is as powerful than an idea whose time has come. It's all out there. And in academic institutions, you unleash that power by germinating the ideas. So it's a proud privilege to be in an environment where knowledge is the main business of exchange on a daily basis. How can Pakistan play a role, regional as well as global, strengthening energy security? It's not the size of Pakistan. It's also not a burgeoning economy. Now that Professor Riaz has given you a snapshot. It is also not the world Saudi Arabia in terms of source of energy. But there are a sum total of factors. And they associate mostly with the location, very strategic location of Pakistan. I would like to just give you a very cursory overview of the map centering on Asia, the heart of Asia, closer to Pakistan. And I put 4 ellipses there. One broadly covering the Middle East. Pakistan comes within the framework of the Middle East. One covering West Asia. Pakistan is part of West Asia. One covering South Asia. Pakistan is concurrently part of South Asia. And the 4th one covering the opening to Arabian Gulf, and Pakistan has 1,000 kilometers long coastline. So it is that almost Asian heartland. That is one reason why Pakistan can play a role, but not geographically alone. Because if you look at it, 60% or more than 60% reserves of oil and gas in the world remaining to be produced are centered within about 5 countries around the Persian Gulf. And that oil and now gas converted into LNG all has to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. And then 85% of that moves to the east, hugging the coast of Pakistan within 22 nautical miles of Pakistan's landmass. So that is one reason that it is a natural hub for energy. The other reason is looking at a page from history. Well before oil was a fuel, known to be a fuel, well before natural gas was discovered, millennia back, there was a trading route And this red line that you see, those are the land routes, the old Silk Route. And the blue lines are the sea lines, or sea lanes, trading routes. Pakistan is connected with both the Silk Route as well as the sea route. This is a bridge between Europe and Asia. Pakistan serves a critical location within that bridge. In fact, the bridge has now been further extended, improved, that other than the road link going through Central Asia, Afghanistan to Central Asia, it also now connects directly Pakistan with China. Now I like to, this is, for example, Pakistan is right here. This is a very old place, Taxila, which has been the center of Buddhist civilization. There is a 2,000 years old university at Taxila and other relics of Buddhist era. From Taxila, the road goes right up to Kashgar and then interconnecting with the Central Asian countries. This is the later page of history when the rail links came about, and the thicker red lines are the primary rail routes. And once again, Pakistan serves as a bridge between Asia or South Asia and Europe. Whereas the roads went north-south direction, the railway is cutting through in east-west direction. So whether you take the road links, whether you take the rail links, whether you take the sea links, and before the era of modern jet planes where they have more endurance, Karachi used to serve as a very important international airport where the refueling used to take place. So those are some of the reasons why Pakistan has a hub value, not only for energy, but for general trade and communications. Now, before I come to the energy, I like to once again give you a flying look at very old history. The Indus Valley civilization, more than 5,000 years ago, covered nearly the whole of what is today's Pakistan. I would not like to go back, although very close to the capital, Islamabad in Pakistan, there is an archaeological find at a place called Rewat, where they found signs of unbroken chain of human activity, 1.6 million years old. And every time they looked at it, they thought it was an anomaly. Till the late 80s, 1980s, the new recognized history of development of the modern man extends to 1.9 million years. And Rewat served as one of the last pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. And if you see April 97 National Geographic, Scientific American magazine, April 97, you see the scientific article of the development of modern man. And they have a 2-page article giving various locations in the world, but at the center is Rewat, Pakistan. It pieced together the whole theory. So it's been older than the Indus Valley civilization to prehistory of over 1.5 billion years that people have lived in that part. But I want to just draw only your attention to a very unique aspect of the history of the region of which Pakistan is part. There has been a very long chain of successive invasions by the Persians, the Greeks, the Scythians, Arabs, Afghans, and finally the British. This history of invasion and occupation has, over the period, tempered the people to hardy nature with the resilience to survive. I don't think we have comparable areas which have undergone so many invasions, some of them very brutal, over such a long period till very late in history. In 1947, when the British left the subcontinent, the British India was divided into two independent states, Pakistan and India. But what followed, the scars of massive and often bloody intermigration, it soured the relationships at the very outset between the two fledgling neighboring states. They went to wars many times, and which pushed the region, Indo-Pakistan subcontinental region, to tension and as a result, economic backwardness. Positive base is now being securely laid for mutually as well as regionally beneficial and cooperative relations, opening the avenues of growing economic activity, especially the regional energy flows to fuel the development and economic growth. Pakistan is a populous country, although it is bounded by the world's greatest populous nation, China, followed by the second populous nation, India, but this itself has 190 million people. Looked at from the sentiment that I shared with you to begin with, that knowledge is a source of power. If the manpower can be made skillful and useful, human resource is a great source of power today. It can also be a liability if they are not as skilled or resourceful. So at least in terms of potential, 190 million people. The population is rather young. Average median age is 22 years. It has 10th largest workforce of over 60 million men and women. But it is relatively poor, only 55% literacy, and 22% people living below the poverty line, as defined $2 a day. It has a significant untapped natural resource base along with the human resource that I just alluded to. But as I speak, Pakistan continues to bear the brunt of the frontline state of 11 years old raging war against terrorism. Whether Professor Riaz was able to capture the real sentiment that expresses the reality in Pakistan, it perhaps may be visible by the light coming on and off, but it is the burden that it's facing, war on terror. This war has caused unprecedented losses in life, property, infrastructure, resulting in an unbearable burden on the economy, and ravaged the peace and security throughout the length and breadth of the country. Last 3 days alone, the number of suicide blasts in the country numbered more than 50 in 3 days alone. In fact, what perhaps Professor Riaz was not able to see, people have got used to the power going off, and they got used to precious human losses in the same manner. because the fact that warrant is having a conflict. We hope now that this war is coming to an end very soon. It's a very strange war. I can only say it is coming to an end. It's not coming to any conclusive end. Things would be the same as they started when the war started. But anyway, we do hope that once it comes to an end, there would be a page in human history that one would want to only refer to for drawing lessons. And then it will create a turn for Pakistan. Pakistan should have, by normal reckoning, gone totally under when it remained burning for the last 11 years. But we do hope that Pakistan has a tomorrow, and Pakistan of tomorrow, emerging from these challenges, will be a vibrant country and will be able to play its role in global economy, especially towards the global energy security. And I mostly address my comments about the potential of Pakistan to strengthen global energy security is in this spirit, Pakistan of tomorrow. Because it would have learned a lot of lessons, it has paid a lot of sacrifices in Pakistan of today. Now, if you look at Pakistan's complexion of society, it is still an agrarian economy. More than 60% people still depend on farming. But look at, I just want to give you a snapshot. This is the commercial energy consumption by sectors, and I want to point out that this is the agriculture. It's agrarian economy, but the agriculture consumes less than 2% of the total energy consumed in Pakistan. I just want to leave this thought with you, how much potential there is for the growth in the economy of that country, which is essentially agrarian and consumes only less than 2% of energy. So that is the kind of potential it has. Professor Riaz alluded to the energy scene, and here I have thrown 3 curves. Primary energy supply and demand scenarios. The lowest one is historical. Pakistan's economy on an average has grown at 5% for a long time. The blue curve is 5% growth average. It's historical. But we need to grow at a higher rate, 6.5% at the very least, but hopefully 8%. So if the growth were to be 6.5% and 8%, you can see how much of demand. And incidentally, Pakistan is finding it difficult to supply this 5% growth rate. Our supply of energy stays short of the lowest curve, whereas our need is to grow at least this and preferably this. So there is a very difficult challenge before Pakistan today. But what is the natural resource base in Pakistan? Some of this resource base is only to make Pakistan meet its energy needs. Some of it is a possible subject for export of energy. Pakistan has found very little oil. Over the history, only 1.1 billion, very little remains, less than 1/3. Natural gas has been lucky. It has discovered 57 TCF and nearly half produced, half remaining. It has 40,000 megawatt of hydroelectric surveyed sites. It is producing 6,000, 4,000 under construction, 30,000 megawatt of hydroelectricity is dams and power houses. According to the latest wind survey, it has 80,000 megawatt of wind power, 1,000 is under installation, and a whole lot of it still to be tapped. I may just say here that wind sometime back was only a sort of minor source, but it has become commercially competitive with the thermal power, and therefore it is one of the fastest model renewable under development, and therefore we do hope that we are able to take a better advantage of it. It has massive deposits of lignite coal, 185 million tons, which have been surveyed. 185 million tons. There's no doubt that lignite is not the best form of coal, but lignite can be used for power generation, for coal gasification, for space heating, and most importantly for biofuels like biodiesel. And if Pakistan can find a cost-effective way of bringing lignite coal, this huge world scale, rather a very high level of world scale lignite deposit, if we can convert it into coal gas, Pakistan has a potential of export base. It can be exported in the form of natural gas, or in the form of electricity, or in the form of LNG. Nuclear is a plan. Pakistan has planned to do 8,500 megawatt of nuclear 2030. It has only 1,000 megawatt producing, 700 under construction, and they're completing within 2 years, but it has 6,800 megawatt and trying. There is a limitation of what Pakistan can get nuclear. Pakistan does not have an access to modern nuclear technology. And therefore, it only depends on sharing the technology with China, our long time always a friend, and Chinese have as yet not developed 1,000 megawatt power indigenous technology, and we're both working on it. So it's a long way off before we will be able to make economies of scale nuclear plants of 1,000 megawatt. Solar, it has abundant solar resource, and the solar power today is essentially a niche source, which far-flung areas where you don't have the transmission lines, you can use solar, but it does not compete with the rest of the thermal or wind, but nevertheless the cost is reducing. So this is the energy resource base Pakistan has, which can make Pakistan self-reliant in energy, and also to an extent a contributor to the world energy resource through export. Today Pakistan imports nearly a third of the total energy consumed, so it draws on the international energy, but I'm sure that very soon, looking ahead, in 10 years' time, Pakistan will be self-reliant in energy, whether it's through the lignite coal, or whether it is through wind, or whether it is through the hydroelectricity. And in 10 years' time, to become self-reliant, that is, relieve the stress on the world of 1/3 of its present import, and later on be able to export. A word I want to say about Pakistan's primary energy mix, the sources of primary energy. There's something uniqueness about the mix, and I want, first of all, nearly 50% of the primary energy mix comes from natural gas. Natural gas is indigenous, and natural gas is environmentally clean fuel. There are only 2 other countries who have slightly higher percentage of natural gas in the primary energy mix, and that's Russia, with the largest gas reserves in the world, followed by Iran with the second largest gas reserves. We have 21st largest gas reserves in the world, but we have the 3rd largest user of natural gas in terms of percentage of the energy mix. I just want to say, and this 27% is what is the import oil that it drains our economy. Then we have a very little contribution from coal, less than 7%. Nearly 24.7% is the world average, but ours is only 7%. So if you look at half natural gas, hydroelectricity nearly 12%, this is one of the cleanest energy mix in the world, environmentally speaking. So there is something uniqueness about the Pakistan energy mix, but the importance of natural gas. How are we able to use natural gas to the extent of 50% of the total energy mix? It does take painstaking, expensive, spread over a long time infrastructure of gas pipelines, transmissions, distribution, utilization, and the consumption cultures. Let's look at the global fuel mix, or the global primary energy mix. And we're looking at the two time slices, 1990 real, 2030 projected. In 1990, the most predominant source of energy was oil, about 39%. 2030, it's massively coming down to 27% global. Natural gas was only 21.8% and is substantially going up to 26%. Natural gas is, to a great extent, substituting for oil. Coal nearly maintaining its position, hydroelectricity slight increase, but another major increase is the renewable. From 0.4% of the global energy mix in 1990, it's going up to 6.4%. So there are two main fuels gaining substantial increase in contribution as well as in significance, and those are the renewables. And talking about renewables, this is wind, biofuels, and the solar, and natural gas. So natural gas is emerging as a very important source of energy. In the past, in 1990, natural gas essentially was moved and used as natural gas. Today, more than 10% of the total gas produced in the world is traded as LNG. So new modes of transportation and utilization of natural gas are coming up. Looking at natural gas, there was a time about 15 to 20 years when we used to say natural gas is the fuel of 21st century. No more. Natural gas is at best a fuel of transition to modern renewables of 21st century. It's a good news, hopefully, that before the 21st century closes, the world would have nearly concentrated only on modern renewables as the major sustenance for energy to rest